Beautiful Saturday day out. Thought I'd spend some time, make a quick video, talk about 2016 presidential election, United States of America, and why I'm voting for Gary Johnson. Well, it's pretty obvious that both our nominees are strongly disliked by the majority of the population. Um, there is a strong passion for Trump among many voters. I don't believe there's a strong passion for Hillary. Of course, there's always exceptions. There's probably die-hard Hillary fans, but there's not as many. Most people I think that are voting for Hillary are passionate dislikers of Trump. So it's all about Trump basically this election. It's you love him or you hate him, and that dictates whether or not you vote for him or Hillary. So I guess I could start by discussing Trump and why I'm not voting for him. First of all, I don't think he is the devil. I don't think he's Hitler. I just kind of think he's a provocateur, a troll. He's a little bit of a fool, but he's not. He's actually savvy, and he knows how to work the media, and he does have intuition, obviously, with business. He's a business guy. There have been disputes about lawsuits and him not paying people in the past, and the fact that he got so much money from his father. And I've also heard things like if he just took the money that he got from his father, invested it in a mutual fund, that he would have generally the same amount of money when you take into account inflation. Don't know how true that is, so I'm not relying on it heavily. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that, business is a dog eat dog world, and he survived. So I'll give him props for that. I think he's, fairly smart, and he knows what he's doing. I don't think he's a total imbecile, but I think he's a little bit of a narcissist, a little bit of an egoist, and I think there's some things about politics that I disagree with him on. And I think just this isn't as important of a thing why I'm not voting for him, but like as a personality, I don't know if it's the greatest thing to have that as our leader of the country. I just think he's so eccentric, and I don't think he's the worst thing in the world. I'm not going to leave the country if Donald Trump becomes a president. There's some things I like about him. I'm undecided exactly how I feel about the immigration policy and the wall. Um, I'm not totally, open borders and all that, and I'm fascinated with the idea of the conversation. I'm not totally against it. I think it might be a good thing to insulate the country and have a country and have legal immigration. And I don't think I would support a mass, it wouldn't really be an exodus, but like a removal of illegal immigrants. Instead, I would more so support a legalization of the ones here. I don't know if that's called amnesty, or I think it's very impractical to start rounding up illegal immigrants and sending them back. I'll compromise with, if there's criminals and stuff like that. Yeah, I'll compromise. But in general, I think it would be best, especially if they're working people. Come on, get them to pay taxes. This is foolish. So there's that. So he keeps talking about like getting our jobs back from China, and he uses it's very vague. I don't know exactly what he means. I think there's some jobs that China should be doing, like factory jobs. They still have a lot of people in their country that are willing to work for not a lot of money. Now, Americans aren't really going to do that work unless you bring in immigrants, unless you vastly increase the population of the American country and make it harder to get jobs because there's so many people, so people start being willing to work for less and less money. Uh, no, I support free trade. I think, that's something that those countries will do. And I think that's something that emerging economies will do until technology becomes so advanced that these mundane tasks, menial, monotonous, tedious things aren't done by humans anymore. And that branches off into a whole different discussion about what do we do about the economy then when a lot of the people in society are useless. They can't really help out in any way. Anyway, um, so I'm unclear totally about how he feels about Muslims. I know he's against radical extreme Islam, and I think there is something to be cognizant of with that whole thing. I don't think it's something that should be totally ignored or swept under the rug. And he's actually talking about it, which I do like. And actually, that's something that I like about him more than Gary Johnson, because Gary Johnson is not. No, no, I did see him at least acknowledge it, and he wants to fight ISIS. But I think Gary Johnson's a much better spoken candidate. I think he just seems to have a better head on his shoulders, more logical, more concise, um, collected, and poised with his thoughts and the way he delivers his message. And I think he has a good philosophy behind him. I don't think he's the best um, articulator of the philosophy. Not that there's anything wrong with the way he speaks, but I don't. He's not Ron Paul. He's not just. He doesn't live it. I don't believe. Um, he's a little bit not as brash as Donald Trump. He's not as bold, which I think is going to hurt him. But he's smart, and he's all for legalization of drugs and do what you want with your body. He's totally fine with people's sexual orientation. He is a business owner himself who I haven't gotten into as much detail about his, childhood or anything like that, but so I don't know how, like if he got loans just like Donald Trump did, but he's a successful business owner. Raised his own money, became the governor of New Mexico for 2 terms, and personally, he's accomplished a lot. He has fortitude and determination and all this good, strong characteristics that I think are good for a leader. Um, he doesn't have a lot of negative language about other people's parties. He has called Donald Trump a racist. I don't like that about him. I don't think Donald Trump is racist. I think he's just a troll and a provocateur. But I don't think he's a racist. He's probably a nice guy if you were to sit down and relax with him, where there was no agenda. What was I? The the toughness of Gary Johnson's personal life. He climbed Mount Everest. He's in what's that called? Triathlete. He's a triathlete. He's in good physical shape, and I think I think an important thing is a politician should have a good philosophy and a good work ethic, and all this. I'll briefly go into detail about Hillary Clinton. She is just the epitome of evil, essentially. she there's so many videos about her saying horrible things in her past, and now she's changed her views, and She's not a fool, though. She is a um, politician, really, through and through. She listens to what people tell her, I think. Um, she's bought. She has a lot of scandals in her past. I don't think there's many people defending Hillary Clinton, so I'm not spending as much time with her. I think the Hillary Clinton supporters are mostly just never Trump people. And there's just so many people who just don't know who Gary Johnson is, and I think that he's our best option. And I don't think he will win, in fact. My actual hope, my realistic hope, is that he will get into the debates, and that will definitely bring him more notoriety and people know who he is and etc. Then maybe he can, who knows, maybe he'll win a state, maybe two states. Um, maybe he'll get 20%, maybe he'll get 15%. That's where he's at now. In one poll, he's gotten 13%. He has to average 15% in 5 polls chosen by some thing, some group that picks the debates. So maybe he'll get into that. But I would love for him to win presidency. My real goal is for him just to win notoriety, and that in 2020, at the latest 2024, we actually have 3 parties vying for the candidacy. I'm not totally against Ted Cruz, actually. I prefer Ted Cruz to Donald Trump. But I still prefer Gary Johnson to Ted Cruz. And I'm not an anarchist. I believe in some government. I believe in a defense, not an offense. So, to a degree, I'm an isolationist. But that's government. I believe in a certain amount of welfare. It's not something that I've totally immersed myself in, where I have a strong position on where it should be and where it shouldn't be. Generally, I think it should be lessened and cut back. Um, I believe in general smaller government and libertarian ideologies and ideas and freedom. Essentially, I don't believe socialism works. I think Bernie Sanders probably has a good heart and he's a great person, but I don't like the idea of authoritarianism and forcing other people what to do. I think this country might need a new philosophy which harbors kindness and taking care of one another and working together. Um, but I don't think that should ever be enacted as a law, like like Robin Hood type stuff. Um, I think we have to figure out a way to promote voluntarism so that it actually works. Uh, so I'm digressing a little bit, but I think Gary Johnson is the best choice for America. And I'm not going to move countries whether or not Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump win the election. I think both choices will be not great for the country. I think Hillary Clinton, it's tough to say who I think is worse. Some days I think Hillary Clinton will be worse. Some days I think Donald Trump would be worse. It really depends on the latest piece of media that I've seen. Whether I'm watching Milo Yiannopoulos, Gavin McInnes, or Sam Harris. Because Sam Harris is totally against Donald Trump. He's one of the smartest people, I think, on earth that I at least know of. And he's fully supporting Hillary Clinton because of how terrible Donald Trump is. He doesn't like Hillary Clinton, but he is so in favor of her because of Donald Trump, and he really presents a good argument that I have trouble refuting. But then you have these people that totally love Donald Trump that I listen to, like Gavin McInnes, like Milo Yiannopoulos, Alex Jones to a certain extent. These people are more or less influences on me. I listen to what they say, but I take it with a grain of salt. So, but when Sam Harris speaks, I rarely take it with a grain of salt. I have trouble disagreeing with almost anything he says because he's such a measured and calculated, and he has thought through everything that he's going to say, and he's essentially the opposite of a troll. He's always serious and to the point, and I love that about him. But and then you have Ben Shapiro, very, very, very smart conservative, who I think he is going to support Trump, but he by no means likes Trump at all. Anyway, I'll wrap it up anticlimactically and just say, in general, I think that Gary Johnson has the best philosophy, and I wish he had a little bit more enthusiasm, but he's by far the best option, in my opinion, for the United States of America.